Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Going the Distance. This is episode 84. Can you believe we've done 84 episodes? I can't, but I want to welcome the new members who are just joining me for the first time, and I want to welcome back the members who've been joining me from the beginning. Your support is greatly appreciated. So before we get started, hit that thumbs up button and like this video. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode when I post a video or a short. And share this video with family and friends and just share it out so we can grow this community. So first off, we're going to talk some baseball, and we're going to talk about the Tampa Bay Rays. Well, they've been up for sale, and they are close to being sold for $1.7 billion. Now, I don't know who the buyer is going to be, but when I find that out, I'll let you know. And if they stay in Tampa Bay. I don't know about that, so I will keep you guys updated on that. And as more news becomes available, you guys will be the first to know. Moving on, we're going to talk about Terry Francona, who is the manager of the Cincinnati Reds now. I know, I'm a Cardinal fan. Why am I talking about the Cincinnati Reds? Well, Terry Francona won his 2000th game of his career earlier in the week. And when I say he won, he won as a manager. His 2000th win. Now, I became known from Terry Francona when he managed the Boston Red Sox, and I am a Red Sox fan. So I'm thrilled to see that he is succeeding wherever he goes. Now, he's been with the Cleveland Indians, who they had to switch their name to the Guardians, just like the Redskins had to change to the Commanders. Don't even get me started on that. But he's been around. He was with the Indians, and now he's with the Reds. But he was with the Red Sox for a number of years. Had great success, like Doc Rivers with the Boston Celtics. Had great success with the Celtics and has done pretty decent outside of where he started. So, congratulations to you, Terry. We'll continue to follow your career. Oh, and by the way, Terry Francona is the 13th manager in MLB history to have this feat. So that's even better. So moving on to some football news. We're going to talk a little bit about Drew Brees. He's been out of the spotlight for a little while. He retired a few years ago. He did a year with NBC, and we haven't heard anything from him. Well, it came out today. It was reported today that Drew Brees will call either the Redskins-Cowboys game or Lions-Vikings game on Netflix on Christmas Day. I think that's great. In fact, honestly, I think he ought to do something with the New Orleans Saints because, that's where he's well known for. He had a lot of success with the Saints, won a Super Bowl with them, and I just think he should do something in that organization, whether it be in the office. In fact, I thought he should have coached them, but we got Kellen Moore for that, so that ought to be good. So congratulations to you, Drew. I'll see the highlights on how you do, and I wish you all the best. Moving on, 5-time All-Pro defensive tackle Ndamukong Suh retires from the NFL after 13 seasons. Now, to me, Suh was well known in Detroit with the Lions, and that's where he started his career. And then he kind of bounced around, went to Tampa Bay, went to Philly, He was with another team. It's escaping me right now, but he retired after 13 seasons, and I've seen where his dad passed away last year, and Ndamukong Suh feels like he's done everything that he promised his dad he was going to do in the NFL. So now he gets to move on to the next chapter, which I think is good. Suh, when you wish you all the success, and we'll follow you in retirement. Okay, moving on. Actually, today, another retirement took place with Mike Williams retiring from the NFL after 8 seasons. Now, this is interesting because he just signed a 1-year deal with the LA Chargers. And he's 30 years old. He'll be 31 in October. And he's retiring from the NFL. Didn't even play a snap for the LA Chargers. He actually played for the Chargers from 2017 to 2023. So he started his career with the Chargers. He played for the Jets in 2024, kinda. I guess he got traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. He played a season with the Steelers. I'm sorry about lost my voice there. And then re-signed with the Chargers. Well, he's 30 years old. His body's probably breaking down. So he decided to retire. He won the national championship in 2016 with the Clemson Tigers. He's a first-team All-ACC. So he was good. He was really good. And I remember hearing things about him when he was out on the field. So you will be missed, Mike. And whatever you decide to do in retirement, sorry, tried to lose my voice again. Whatever you decide to do in retirement, we'll follow your career there. Moving on, breaking news last night, and I did a short about this last night. Von Miller signs with the Washington Redskins. Now, he has come out and said that he wants to play one more season. He would have liked to have been with the Bills where he was from 2022 to 2024, but the Bills had other options. So they let him go in free agency, and he was just kind of floating around. And then I didn't hear anything else about him until he said, I want to play one more season. I'd love to re-sign with the Bills. If I don't, I'll play somewhere else. Well, the Redskins, or the Commanders, needed him, so they signed him to a 1-year deal. Now, this might be his last year, and I don't see anything wrong with him signing with the Redskins. You've got Jalen Daniels, who is amazing. Even though Von Miller is a defensive player, he's a linebacker. Jalen Daniels is good. Zach Ertz has re-signed, so he's going to be good. Plus, you've got all the other aspects. Dan Quinn being there, which is phenomenal. So, Von, congratulations signing with the Redskins. I know you might have wanted to go back to Denver where you started your career, start your career, end your career in the same spot. I get it. Ending your career with the Redskins, not that big a deal. It's going to be good. So, we're going to be keeping tabs on you, Redskins, and see how you do. Von Miller. Moving on, Najee Harris, who was just traded to the Miami Dolphins, injured his eye in a 4th of July firework accident. But he should be ready for preseason. So, we're going to keep tabs on you, Najee. Signing was a bit of a surprise. That trade was a bit of a surprise, but hey, it is what it is. Moving on, Garrett Wilson signs a 4-year, $130 million extension with the New York Jets. $90 million of that is guaranteed. Honestly, I don't know. I don't see why the Jets are paying all this money for a player. Yes, he's good. Yes, yes, he was stifled last season because of Aaron Rodgers. But he needs to prove himself. And not just, okay, we're going to sign you to a 4-year max deal. Sign him to maybe a 2-year deal, see how he does, and then give him that extension. But, there's new blood with the Jets this year. So let's see how you do, Garrett Wilson. Speaking of extensions, the Chiefs, the cheating Chiefs, as I like to call them, extend their offensive lineman Trey Smith to a 4-year, $94 million extension, with $70 million of that guaranteed. This doesn't surprise me because, yeah, maybe he's not worth $94 million, but I didn't think Patrick Mahomes was worth the money they paid him over the 10-year period. But they paid it to him. So it makes me shake my head, is what it makes me do. And I'm like, why are you going to do this? Why in the world are you going to pay all this money and then, just losing the playoffs? Which is what y'all did last year. Y'all lost in the playoffs. So let's hope Trey Smith is worth all this money. Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion, is not worth the money. But you're trying to make it look like he is by having him win all these Super Bowls and go to the championship game every year. I get that. But he's not worth it. And the team hadn't been worth it. So let's see how the Chiefs do this season. I kind of see the Chiefs losing to the Bills again this season. But let's see what happens. Moving on, we're going to talk a little NHL news. So as everybody who's been following the show knows, if you haven't, I'm going to tell you, the Florida Panthers won the Stanley Cup. So they got to have the parade. They got their rings, everything. Well, it's come out that October 7th is the opening day for the NHL season. So I'm happy about that. The Florida Panthers are going to play the Chicago Blackhawks in a triple header on opening night, which means that the Panthers are going to raise their championship flag. And I am happy to see it. This is the second year in a row that the Panthers have won. Can they make it a three-peat? And I know, right off the bat, I can already tell you, three-peats are hard to do. So I'm not going to rag and talk about, this needs to be a three-peat for the Florida Panthers, because if they don't go for a three-peat, that's okay. It's hard to do in football. It's hard to do in hockey. But we're going to see how that goes. We're going to talk a little UFC now, and we're going to talk about Randy Couture. Now, he was a UFC fighter who was involved in an accident, a car accident, a few weeks ago. Well, he's out of the hospital now, and he is recovering good at home. I believe he was driving along, and his car had hit a tree or something and caught fire. He was taken out. Somebody brought him out of the fire, and he's doing good now with recovery. He's out of the hospital, which is great, and he will be healing great. So, moving on, I've got a little more. We're actually going to move on to some F1, Formula One. Christian Horner has been let go by Red Bull after 20 years as team principal, which is like the owner. The team confirmed that he's gone after 20 seasons. I'm new to the whole F1 sport, so I believe him being the team principal is him like being the manager. So now Red Bull is looking for a new manager, coach, principal for their team. And when they find their new principal, I'll let you guys know. Moving on, that was all for sports news. Now let's move into some music news. Earlier in the week, I believe it was Monday, Deftones, who was a 90s alternative band who had, defined, the new metal, grunge, rock scene in the 90s and early 2000s, released their new single, and they released a new album. So go check out the Deftones. If you go to their YouTube channel, that first one is their new single. So I was really excited because Deftones are good. Now, they're not for everybody. You have to be in the right frame of mind to listen to Deftones. But, they're good. And they can relate to people like you want Deftones to do. You want them to relate. So the name of the song is My Mind is a Mountain. That's the name of their new single. My Mind is a Mountain. And they released the single and the music video. So go check that out. I would put them in probably the top 20 in my bands. Probably wouldn't go see them live, but to watch them, to watch their music videos, they're better. They're one of those bands better to listen to than to watch, in my opinion. But that's just me. Moving on, we're going to talk a little bit about Jane's Addiction. A few months ago, if you guys followed the music scene, they formed again and had a one-off concert, like reunion tour. Well, in that concert, reunion show, the lead singer went after Dave Navarro, who is the guitarist. Well, Dave was doing what he always does. He's playing the guitar. And then, you know how two guitarists go face to face and play each other, or the lead singer and the guitarist go face to face during the bridge, and they just play, and the lead singer acts like he's playing the guitar. If he's playing guitar, they play head to head. That wasn't the case. Dave tried to go up there and play the guitar next to him, and the lead singer gets right up in Dave's face and pushes him. And they have an altercation. Well, now those other members of Jane's Addiction are suing this lead singer for the altercation at the concert. And then I find out yesterday that after they filed the lawsuit against him, he filed the lawsuit against the other members of the band. So now he countersued their lawsuit, which I think is ridiculous, but it is what it is. Moving on, it was reported that Luke Combs is going to release a new single Friday, July 25th. I'm thrilled about that. I'm a huge Luke Combs fan. And him and Bailey Zimmerman, who's another country artist, are going to be the theme song for I believe it's ABC's college football this season. So they're working on that. So go check out Luke Combs. I did a Who We're Listening To on Luke Combs, and I'm a huge fan. But that was all for music news. Now moving on to the Who We're Listening To segment, and I am thrilled with this one because this is my all-time favorite solo artist. And who we're listening to this week is Rob Thomas. He's alternative rock, soft rock. He was actually born in Western Germany, but grew up in South Carolina. And then he grew up in South Carolina and Florida. So he moved from Germany to South Carolina when he was like 2 years old. And then he stayed in South Carolina from the time he was 2 to 10. And then when he was 10 years old, him and his family, him and his mom and sister moved to Florida. He started singing in 1990. I found out about him in 1996 because he's the lead singer of my all-time favorite band, Matchbox 20, who I will do a Who We're Listening To segment on very soon. So I have a history with Rob and Matchbox. His debut solo album was Something to Be, which, coincidentally enough, this is its 20th anniversary this year. No, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the 20th anniversary of Something to Be, his debut solo. He's had 5 studio albums as a solo artist, more if you count Matchbox, but we're just doing him solo today. He's had 22 solo singles, 9 solo music videos, and his new album, All Night Days, comes out September 5th. And that's funny because September 5th is the day before I go see Breaking Benjamin and 3 Days Grace in concert. So, a lot of good things are going to happen that weekend. It's hard for me to pick a favorite album out of his solo albums, but if I were to choose, it would be his last one, Chip Tooth Smile, only because, well, it's good. I mean, all his stuff is good in my opinion, but the concept behind that album, he wanted to make it like an 80s record, where all the songs kind of had that 80s feel to them. And I love 80s music. So the fact that he did that, plus there's a song called Timeless on that Chip Tooth Smile album, which I think is just the smartest thing ever. He took song titles from the 80s and turned them into a song. So he put his own spin on it, but he would say something and then add a 80s song title to it. So honestly, in the what song we're listening to, I want you guys to listen to the Timeless song, and I want you to listen to the 2 new singles that he just released from his All Night Days album, which was Hard to Be Happy and Thrill Me. So I want you guys to listen to 3 songs this week. I want you to listen to Timeless from his Chip Tooth Smile. I want you guys to listen to Hard to Be Happy, the first new single off the new album, and Thrill Me, which he surprisingly released the same day he released Hard to Be Happy. And just let me know what you guys think. So that's all I've got for you guys this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I'd love to hear your guys' feedback. So comment at the bottom what you guys thought. And comment who you guys are listening to. I say this every week. Comment who you're listening to, who your favorite bands are, solo artists, and your favorite genres. But that's all I've got. As always, hit that thumbs up button and like the video. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell and comment your thoughts. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the week. Have a great weekend, and we will be back next week. God bless.